Hey, everybody out there. This is Big Steve welcoming you to Big Steve's Backstage Pass. And we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about a place that was the citadel of venues in America, Madison Square Garden. And here's a shot of it in 1987 when we were pulling up to do a little run there for more than a week, actually. And uh, that King Kong blow up was put up there, and it was iconic to New York. It attracted a lot of attention in that tie dye shirt. And then when I stood there, I went out front when we pulled up, and I saw that on the first day when we were loading in. I started remembering when I was a child and I was brought to Madison Square Garden, not this building. This building was built later on in the 60s, but in the 50s, there was an old Madison Square Garden, and it was actually the second one. Madison Square Garden went back in New York history. It was always an event center, and there it was, man, the epitome of all showbiz in a way, Madison Square Garden. And when I went there as a kid, my dad, I was holding his hand, and we went to see the circus, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, and it was scary to me because the first thing when you walked in was the freak show, the old time freak show. So I was fascinated with that. And it sort of blended in my mind how freakish this wall was, man, and what a great building it was. And the building had feeling, and the building had a personality to it. I could feel it right away as a child, even. And so then when you come back there with the Grateful Dead and to have a chance to play there and to see this beautiful scene like this was that place full. It when we first went in there, we had played at downstairs in the new this is the new Madison Square Garden, they call it. In this building is suspended. It looks like a giant spaceship. It's suspended inside another building. It's on cables. So it moves a little bit when the show is on. And downstairs was a place called the Felt Forum. That was a smaller version. So when we first got a chance to play at Madison Square Garden, that's where they put us, in Felt Forum. And that was quite a rock and roll show, man. We had a great time and we really liked it. A lot of friends came, our New York scene, where we had all kinds of people. And it was a real party town, let me tell you. It still is, it always will be. But we would party there pretty heavy. So staying in Madison Square Garden for a whole week was like, really, we had to learn a whole new way of hanging, man. It was incredible. It was such an eventful, beautiful experience. And to do it there at this iconic place, Madison Square Garden. First of all, the first people when we came in there to the big room was the union guys, and they came up to us. They already knew that we, due to other things, were card carriers of the IA, so they welcomed us as brothers. And they're local one, the first local of the international theatrical stage employees. And so we worked with those guys right away, and they didn't give us any hard time. They were known for that. They worked with us as brothers, man, and it was such a beautiful feeling. And we got to know everybody there. We got to know the people that ran the elevators and the back doors. And downstairs, you had to load at the loading docks. You had to go down this tiny elevator. Whoever really built that, they made sure that you loaded in downstairs in this big truck ramp area. Now, this is a backstage pass of what it'd be like for what they call the ramp boxes. Those were for our special friends when they wanted to sit in certain boxes. So uh, that was where they got to do it with that pass right there. But at these shows, when we're there for that much time, we had to rotate through all our friends because it was such a scene in New York, man. And we were the only band that did it like that, with a giant party backstage and all this stuff. So when you had an amazing history of this place, and here we are with it. The band responded in kind. We spent long days doing sound checks, getting everything right, man. It was that New York ready, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere kind of a feeling, man. And here's a good shot of the guys on stage playing the show. And they were just full on into it. The New York energy would take you over when you stayed there that long. And we'd gone there many times. We'd hubbed out of there and done tours all around there with Jerry's band and the Grateful Dead. I did them all, but this was really special. This run, this '87 run, it made our mark. It made our bones at Madison Square Garden. We started setting records there for how long we could play there, and became the band that played there at the time of Jerry's demise. It was we played there more than anybody else. We had the record. I think there are people maybe now that might have surpassed it, but we had like 19. We did 2 weeks in a row there at one time. So it was incredible, and to be there on the stage, it felt like you were at a place of showbiz apex, something in those days when you could you showed the world that here we are, a band that came up scruffing around, and now we're selling this place out multiple nights, having all this great scene go down there. And so it's a beautiful experience, and it's great memories I have there of that whole place, because the backstage is set up, for great dressing rooms, and it was so professionally run, the whole place, that you had a great time there. Of course, it was New York style. It was downstairs where the Teamsters had it all set up. They load in, then the stuff had to come up the small, like little elevator, like I say, then forklifted onto the stage. So the load in took a while, but it was well worth it, man. And it was such a cool place because we had food brought in from everywhere with all the New York finest, man, from restaurants, from people catering, and the promoters would throw parties for us backstage. We always went there in September, which was the time of fall touring. And we started it in New York, usually at Madison Square Garden. And what a great way that was. We could bring family and friends later from California. And we had such a great time there, And so all these passes are from that run, the 15th, 16th, 17th of 1987, some of them. There are many more passes from that. We had so many guests. You see, on the 16th, we used two different kind of passes because we ran out. And so many people would be hitting on us for tickets and everything. And this was beautiful, iconic Grateful Dead stuff and imaging everywhere in New York. Wherever you went, it was like, wow, welcome there. And I'll never forget it. But the character of that building and the strength of the people of New York made it a special place to play. And everybody knew it. Boy, they were proud of that place. And so were we proud to play there and get to know it, get to know all the nooks and crannies of the building. And I look at it as a fond memory. And I loved it there. And
Hey, Steve, what about off days? When you guys had off days in New York, that must have been great. Did you have a favorite restaurant? Was there a place Jerry liked to go? That kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, there was all kinds of places like that. On this particular run, we discovered a place, which was a Thai restaurant. It was right across from Studio 54, which was a famous club back in the 70s and 80s, earlier on in the 80s, and across from there. And it was so cool. The Rolling Stones used to eat there. We would run into other showbiz people. It had an after hours show, and it was like being in Thailand, man. It was just that vibe. The food was excellent, and we had some great parties in there. But we also went to a lot of other places, and ate in really good places at night after the show. See, New York stayed open really late. There was a late night thing in New York where the restaurants don't close early. So after the shows, we would, go back and have dinner together, sometimes alone with friends. We did stuff, and people went out to after hours clubs and things like that. And that was a lot of fun. New York, we got into it there, and we'd been coming there for years. So we knew a lot of people there. We knew a lot of places. And it made it like old home week in every way. Oh boy. Yes, we did party, and you had to be careful of that. Because when we stayed at the Ritz Carlton, which was the Navarro before that, we started staying there in the early 70s. on Central Park South, and uh, we knew everybody at the hotel. They knew us for so many years. When it changed over from the Navarro to the Ritz-Carlton, we were treated so well there. And so we could have a party there every night. And they were used to that and they expected it. And the Deadheads knew we stayed there. So they always showed up. And it was pretty amazing, the parties we had there in the bar of that place. The Ritz-Carlton bar, I actually will put pictures up of that sometime because we spent a lot of great time in that hotel and they treated us so well. But the bar itself was the Jockey Club, and it was known all over the world for being a New York establishment. Oh yeah, memories, sweet memories.
I mean, great runs in New York, all through the Grateful Dead history for sure. But wow, Madison Square Garden. I remember when, I lived in New York for a while. You always knew when the Dead was in town, no matter where you were in the town, whether you were down at Wall Street or uptown. I mean, there was just Deadheads everywhere. So cool.
Yeah. And that was really great to do that. What a great experience. And thank you all for listening. Be sure that you remember to hit the like button if you like this show, and also sign up for subscription with us. It's going and to make it work for you. Appreciate you guys so much. We check all your comments. We'll try to answer them. We'll do a whole show where we start answering those comments. This one will appear later today, so bear with us. Love you guys so much. Now, stand by while we show you a couple of our sponsors. Thank you so much. And don't forget to hit like and give us a subscription. Thank you so much.
Completely budget friendly. So pitching this to come here would be a lot easier versus spending thousands of dollars at another hotel or another club when this is $300 in itself, but you're getting a bunch of food credit, alcohol credit. You can get a bottle on top of that. It's topless. Weed here, games. it's everything. Now that I've worked here long enough to see how it is, it's really cool with the amount of freedom you get. A lot of people that are raving, they want to have that freedom to do pretty much everything that Lexi offers. And when you're a rave person, you really kind of don't care at some given point. You just want to party, drink, smoke, relax, titties out. Boom, Lexi. So it's really convenient for a lot of ravers to come here. You get triple things in one place. So it's like you're not only topless, you get to smoke weed, not only outside, but you can smoke weed on a specific floor, which not a lot of hotels have. And then also the experiences that are here as far as like the different shows we have going on, the parties, what kind of parties.
Starting a whole new thing, and it's all about Jerry's wellness, his caring about you going into the future. It's something that I'm doing in conjunction with his daughters and his family. And it's a product that we've come up with. And it's Jerry Garcia CBD. They're gummies. They're great flavors. And it starts right there in telling you the love Jerry had for you guys. As his roadie for so many years, I know how much he cared about the audience. This comes in a tincture and a beautiful peach gummy. This is the special thing of all, the pain cream. It works so well. It's incredible. You put it on any ache or pain anywhere on your body. It does something for you that is so amazing. You can always tell you got the authentic stuff by the Jerry Garcia signature and the Jerry Garcia handprint.